Hello, denizens, your former network executive here. I recently did a green light or not video on Tim Allen's new sitcom Shifting Gears. I gave it a no. If I was the executive in charge of production, I would have asked for some major changes to the pilot. I couldn't, in all good conscience, green light it in the state that it was in. Now, many of you in your comments actually watched it. Many loved Tim and his co-star Kat Dennings and enjoyed the show just based on those two stars' performances, which is a totally valid reason to like a show and even green light it while crossing one's fingers. A network sitcom usually got an initial order of 9 or 10 episodes and would often be canceled after the first few weeks if the ratings tanked. If the show sucked, it would usually stay dead. But sometimes the network either believed in the obvious quality of a show, like Cheers, which did badly at first and then picked up during summer reruns. Could Shifting Gears be that hidden gem? Perhaps. But the pilot stunk, and I stand by my decision. As it happens, the debut did very well in the ratings with 6.1 million total viewers. It can be both stinky and a success at the same time. Welcome to network TV. One commenter asked me if I had seen NBC's St. Denis Medical, which also just recently debuted. I had not. So I watched it and was thoroughly blown away. It did everything correctly, the complete opposite of Shifting Gears. SDM reached 7.4 million total viewers. I thought it was great, and it seems so did the audience, but it's still too early to tell who the winner will be between the two. But rather than doing a green light or not on SDM, I thought I'd take the opportunity to compare the two shows and lay out why SDM did it right and why Shifting Gears did not. The very first thing that differentiates the two shows is something my friend Robert Meyer Burnett calls verisimilitude. Do I believe the situation? Let's start with SDM. We meet Alex. She is the lead of the show. Starting with the lead is a good idea. We can tell this takes place in a hospital. She encounters a repeat drug addict who can't seem to quit his addiction. It's a funny scene. We immediately see she is empathetic, good at her job, likable, and has a sense of humor in a difficult situation. I believe she is a nurse. She says the right things. Her attitude is professional. She has experience. In its very opening montage, SDM shows the main characters, well, in a dramatic situation together. We see the whole team together. We see Joyce runs the hospital. We see an overworked Alex, a compassionate Ron, a full of himself Bruce. Let's contrast this with Shifting Gears. The first scene is not with Tim Allen. It's with Gabriel and Stitch. Stitch is called Stitch because he stitches upholstery. We see vintage cars, but the two are making big-ass booty jokes about the back end of the jalopy in the garage. They aren't talking about the business of restoring cars. Neither character is unique or interesting. Instead, they lean into a black joke because I guess Stitch is there and he's black, so why not? An auto mechanic shop has its own lingo, much like a hospital. It's a business. They have customers and deadlines. Why isn't Gabriel working on the car? And Stitch, why isn't he interrupting him with questions? Can we start off with some stakes, maybe? They yammer on, and Tim Allen as Matt comes out of an office. How exciting. More non-car business. Finally, Gabriel asks a question, and Matt takes a peek at the inverter. An electrical inverter is not really a car thing. It's an RV thing. This whole scene has no verisimilitude. If you'll excuse me, let me suggest that Gabriel has finished working on the old car. Stitch perhaps could be the one person with business sense and tells Gabriel that the car isn't going to be picked up until it's paid for. Tim playing Matt comes out and says it was a favor for a friend, Stitch gets mad at Matt because he's always doing favors for old friends and they will go bankrupt if he keeps doing that. That would be a B plot. In my scenario, Matt brings in the business but has no idea how to run it. Stitch is the real boss but doesn't get the credit for it. I would make Gabriel dumb as an ox, good at mechanics, dumb about everything else, and can't stop spending money on the tool truck. And why not have a tool truck with a silver-tongued sales guy trying to sell the latest super expensive wrenches a la Snap-on? The shop could be abuzz with parts being ordered, sway bars, head gaskets, water pumps, timing chain kits, mufflers, injectors, ECU, map sensors, etc. Arguments about using OEM versus aftermarket parts. How about an oil leak gag? Yes, the aforementioned can be made funny. If a hospital shtick can be made funny, then why not this? And it's into this chaos drives Matt's estranged daughter Riley with children in tow. Matt is already wound up in my scenario, but now this happens. Why isn't the vintage GTO announcing its entrance with a mighty roar of its engine? It just kind of slides in. It could belch smoke from its end, fake smoke for all you environmentalists. Riley is returning after 15 years because the car needs a tune-up. Tim plays Matt way too in control, and we should see a full of himself Matt, so it makes sense to us why Riley left home. I'm not saying that any of these suggestions would be better, but at least you can see I've given everyone a clear character and a B-plot about getting Matt's act together enough to tell, his best bud that he can't take the car until it's paid for. The joke could be that his best bud has got tons of money. He's just a user. And so Matt has to deal with that. Back to SDM, the show's main story is about Alex needing to go see her daughter in a play. Yeah, we've all seen that before. But she has a history of not leaving the hospital when she's supposed to because she's a control freak. We meet a woman with a problem who is dismissed. A new nurse, Matt, again, who is as wet as a dish rag. Joyce has ordered a way too expensive medical toy. Matt has clumsily stabbed himself with an EpiPen and is having a bad reaction. I thought that was funny. Turning on the medical device brings down all the computers. Chaos ensues. Joyce does not want to admit blame. Dr. Ron accuses her of spending money on her ego projects and not on the things they need. The woman who was ignored collapses in the parking lot, and the very late to the play Alex has to stop and take her into emergency where the gang treats and revives her. Alex misses her daughter's play. Dr. Ron comes out to console her. In the background, we can see the too expensive mammography machine being loaded into a truck. Serena tries to console a depressed Matt. He thinks she has the hots for him. Serena tells the camera that Matt will soon be fired. Final scene is Joyce learning there will be a restocking fee for returning the machine. Wasted money on her ego. The end. All the threads created were closed in a satisfying way. The only threads of significance in Gears is Riley getting to stay at the family home, which is resolved way too quickly. Matt teaching his grandson, who's not into cars, how to drive. That was the best scene. I would have had the tiny granddaughter precociously into cars. There was a hint of Gabriel pining for Riley that went nowhere comedically. Grandson shoots an Instagram video that went nowhere. It would have been a great C-plot. Medical is shot in the Office or Community documentary style. You can argue amongst yourselves if you're sick of that. There is no laugh track in it, thankfully. Shifting Gears has an oppressive laugh track, the kind that reminds you, oh, this is why sitcoms died. The characters are clear in SDM, and they all return to equilibrium at the end. Gears ends with a reconciliation hug between Matt and Riley and a weepy eulogy for his wife. Save this for season 4, for fuck's sake. So we have a show with no stakes, personal or business-wise. The characters are not clear. I don't know what their motivations are. I don't know what its equilibrium is. Just in case you don't know what I mean by equilibrium, one example would be in Seinfeld. Jerry gets to date beautiful women, but by the end of each episode, he loses them in some hilarious way, like the episode where he couldn't remember his date's name, but he is certain it sounded like a female body part. Hope springs eternal, but Jerry will always lose the girl. That is returning to equilibrium. That's what sitcoms do. Now, the fact that SDM has all these things going for it and Shifting Gears does not is not a guarantee of success. The mere fact that people love Tim and Kat could very well be enough to rocket Shifting Gears into season 2. Such is the fickle world of TV. But that aside, suddenly there are a few comedy shows appearing on network TV, including Going Dutch with Denis Leary. Why haven't I heard of that show or St. Denis Medical? I mean, that is proof that the networks do not know how to market their shit, especially to people who no longer consume network TV. Throwing a trailer on YouTube is not enough. Anyway, I'm interested in seeing where SDM goes and if Shifting Gears figures itself out. Have you seen both shows? Maybe you've seen Going Dutch. Tell us what you think. Till next time, denizens, be seeing you.